I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thanks still stands for freedom, and they can't take that to you and defend her still today.
Well, I think there's no question about it that the momentum is with Kamala Harris, who has had an extraordinarily successful rollout. And I think it's taken a lot of political observers by surprise. I think that Kamala Harris was kind of a cipher for many Americans. They didn't know her. And I think among political professionals, including Democrats, there was a tendency to underestimate her. So she has come out of the box with an extraordinarily strong performance. She has re-energized the Democratic Party. She's given a series of very, very well received speeches. There's still, of course, the question, how will she perform in longer form interviews, press conferences, and of course in this debate format. But right now, whether you're looking at the national polling numbers or you're looking at the swing state polling numbers, you have to say that the momentum is with Kamala Harris. This race is today still a toss-up, but I'd rather be Kamala Harris than Donald Trump, given the directional arrow of the polls. But I think it's going to be a test for Kamala Harris. How is she going to handle the insults? How is she going to handle the bullying from Donald Trump? And I think that both candidates are going to try to get under the skin of the others. I think that Trump is going to try to make Kamala angry or less joyful to interrupt her vibes. And of course, Kamala Harris is being urged to let Trump be Trump. How do you play upon his insecurities to have him have one of those moments that is going to be persuasive to the very, very small number of undecided voters that we have?
As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans. By the end of my first term, we will end America's housing shortage.
The debate does not happen if a candidate chooses not to participate. We see this time and time again, that pocketbook issues are highly motivational for people to get to the polls. I think that Vice President Harris can campaign on a record of achievement and making more progress. Unemployment is low. Gas prices have actually dropped. Inflation is lower. There needs to be a kind of careful balancing between touting accomplishments and recognizing the pocketbook challenges that many voters still feel. It's not just the state of the economy, it's voters' perceptions that matter.
Because at some point she is going to be asked the question, well, do you support any limits of any kind? What the Republican line will be is that the Democrats have a radical position of their own, which is, choice up until the moment of birth. So that may be something she will have to address. But having said that, I'm not sure that I would say that Donald Trump has muddied it as the waters, as opposed to really kind of exposed his complete incoherence on this issue. He really wants to have it both ways on an issue that you really can't have it on. You can't have it both ways. So over the weekend, he changed his position multiple times on how he's going to vote on that Florida referendum, ultimately coming down in favor of voting to preserve a 6-week ban. That's just the reality. He may say he wants a longer ban. Now he's also saying that he wants a form of like socialized medicine when it comes to IVF. Now, this has created a real rift in the pro-life community. There's some real, agitation about his position.
Well, I think it's going very well. It's another day that we've been proving totally is the
point person for it, but it's Rosanna Marklushevich and me.
Oh, okay.
Now we I'm not sure whether the specifics will matter to swing voters. What may matter, though, and we're seeing this with some Republicans who support Trump, some blocks of voters who say they support Trump, but they wish there weren't so much chaos, so much noise, so much disruption. That ultimately may make a difference to some swing voters.
Right, be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our... What happened after I left? They took over our country.
We see that after the horrific assassination attempt. We see that at his Republican convention acceptance speech. Former President Trump really believes that this is that he has an important role to play in the future of American politics, and that he is the only one who can do this. And that message is compelling, right? Not just to his core supporters, but potentially to undecided voters in battleground states who maybe see the legal troubles, the language, the attacks, all kind of as a lot of noise, and are kind of focusing in on, well, who will better represent my interests?
Kamala Harris, when she was asked about, well, what do you think of Donald Trump's comments that you're not really black? She just basically said, that's the playbook, move on. She just has brushed it off. They have, in fact, tried to make him smaller rather than this larger than life character. Now, this is, of course, the test in the debate when you're standing on stage with him. How do you continue to do that? And I think that one of the things that she's going to have to do is obviously maintain her poise, but also not get drawn into the pig wrestling. I mean, it's in Donald Trump's interest to drag her down, to get her into the name calling, whereas she needs to be able to show that she is strong and forceful.
Let us write the next great chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told. Thank you. God bless you.
There are some things that cannot be planned for in a political campaign. You can't plan for an explosion of excitement, of engagement like what she got. I think there was this tremendous relief after Joe Biden dropped out. I think that there was really this near-death experience that Democrats had gone through after the convention, thinking that Donald Trump is going to be president again, and we were not going to be able to stop him. And so she came in at a moment when I think people were just looking for a dose of optimism. Now, how long can you sustain that? Obviously, this is the wind. This is the wind beneath her wings at the moment. But we're about to enter a period after Labor Day where this campaign is going to get incredibly intense and incredibly dark. The Trump campaign is going to throw absolutely everything at her. The question is, amid all the ugliness, can you keep up a campaign of joy? Can the vibe survive that? I just don't know. And I think that the debate is a real test of that.
Kamala mentioned my name, I think, 21 times. She didn't mention the border. She didn't mention inflation.
Done this by using human beings and human trafficking.